What should I be eating? This is a common question I get asked in my practice pretty much daily. And it makes sense because there's so much information online on what are we supposed to eat, and this is the best diet, and this is the healthiest food. And so, if you're tired of trying diet after diet only to find none of them work for you, you're not alone. I'm Dr. Laura Pipher. Today, we're deep diving into why one size fits all diets don't work, especially when it comes to women's health. You might have wondered which diet's best for weight loss, which diet's healthiest. By the end of this video, you'll understand the nuances of diet, the role of the microbiome, and why personalizing your approach is crucial for your health. One size fits all diets ignore differences such as age, gender, genetics, and health conditions. For instance, a 2020 study showed that personalized diets, which consider metabolic and genetic factors, resulted in more effective weight loss compared to standard diets. And in women, we have an additional layer. We have hormonal fluctuations throughout the month, which can significantly affect how you respond to dietary changes. For example, some women may experience cravings or increased appetite during certain phases. This can make strict dieting even more challenging. For other women experiencing conditions like endometriosis, hormonal fluctuations, and digestive issues that are combined can create symptoms like bloating, especially leading up to their period. During this time, it may be important to focus on leafy greens, berries, omega-3 rich foods, which can help mitigate this discomfort. So let's tackle some of the most commonly asked questions people have about diets. Number one, which diet is best for weight loss? When we look at the research, again, time and time again, you will see the Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean diet focuses on variety, focuses on whole foods, focuses on a balance of plant-based proteins and animal proteins. And I think at the core of it, it is just whole foods and variety. We know that it's been shown in research to promote sustainable weight loss and improved heart health. But again, some people might need a little bit more nuance to this. If you have celiac, for example, you obviously aren't going to be eating those gluten grains. And so we need to make sure that your diet is tailored to your unique and individual needs in that circumstance, which would be avoiding those things and making sure that there was appropriate substitutes. And when we talk about which diet is healthiest, this is a really nuanced conversation. We know there's personal preference, we know that there's cultural pieces and individual digestive capabilities that play a role into which diet is healthiest. For example, some patients come to see me and they say, beans actually really don't do well with me. Even though beans are high in protein, they're rich in fiber, and they're a great source of nutrition for many people. Some people get bloating, digestive upset, and increased gas or heartburn that makes it not the best choice for them. Now, I would argue that in a lot of those cases, the beans are not the problem themselves, but it is the digestive system that needs some work. But in that particular case, we might choose in that patient to remove beans for a period of time while we're working on improving that digestive capacity by getting rid of maybe overgrowths or infections, making sure we're supporting proper stomach acid, making sure we're reducing inflammation before we go ahead and we introduce those nutrient-dense foods. Because at the end of the day, foods that are higher in fiber are harder to break down. So even though they are healthy for your digestive system, they might actually just be a little bit harder to handle. When we're looking at conditions like fatty liver or high cholesterol, we know that it's essential to personalize the approach because we have to understand why these conditions happened in the first place. Now, I've had a lot of questions about the carnivore diet. This diet solely consists of animal products, and there are claims that it helps with weight loss and reduction in inflammation. Small studies actually suggest that it can lead to quick weight loss for some. But when it comes to women's health, there are significant concerns regarding nutrient deficiencies. Essential nutrients like fiber, vitamins, and minerals that are found in plant-based foods are crucial for hormonal balance and overall health. So when we lack these nutrients, this can actually create adverse effects, digestive issues, cholesterol issues. And I think that when we look at a lot of these diets, if you go from your standard American diet or your Western diet, which is heavily processed foods, convenience foods, lots of takeout. We're talking foods that are low in fiber, low in vegetables and fruit, low in antioxidants, low in polyphenols, which are all good for gut health, insulin, heart health, you name it. And then we go to any diet that removes those foods, right? When we go to a diet like a carnivore diet, we're inherently taking away processed foods, right? We're not going towards more packaged foods. And this is the problem I see when patients do two things. They go gluten-free or they go vegan. When they go gluten-free, they are essentially replacing a lot of those gluten-filled foods, so muffins, cookies, cakes, breads, with the gluten-free version, which 9 times out of 10 is actually less healthy than the product that had gluten in it because there was a lot of things that they had to do and a lot of extra processing and different ingredients that had to be added to create palatability and to actually make that food, taste similar to the original product. And so when you go gluten-free, in my opinion, if you're going gluten-free and you're taking away all the foods that would have contained gluten and you're actually just going towards a more whole foods diet, that is going to be the better option, right? When you go vegan, I always say it is very difficult to go vegan and hit all of the required nutrients. You have to work quite hard to do it. And unfortunately, for the most part, what I see in practice when patients go vegan, they end up doing a lot of those more packaged and processed vegan meat alternative types of products, which doesn't promote a healthy lifestyle because, again, we're just going from one processed food diet to another processed food diet. And it's really important to look at certain foods that can cause inflammation. Now, I've had patients come to me and say, Laura, I need you to tell me what foods are causing me inflammation. The best way to do this is actually to see how you are tolerating specific foods. Again, certain foods can cause inflammation for different individuals. So in some people, beans are what's causing inflammation because they can't properly break them down because their gut is not working efficiently. Some people can tolerate certain foods without issue, while their neighbor, their friend, their daughter, their sister experience discomfort. So I find that this stems from digestive issues most often. Again, we're not talking about anaphylaxis here, but we're talking about sensitivities that lead to gas and bloating and joint pain and inflammation. And a lot of the inflammation that we experience often comes from the gut. And so a healthy gut should actually ideally be able to handle a variety of whole foods. When you have digestive issues, meaning low stomach acid, inflammation, leaky gut, which is this intestinal permeability that happens when we are not eating healthy foods or we have other things that come into play. Again, what can change the digestive system? Hormones, aging, poor diet, repetitive diet, so lack of diversity can change the gut microbiome in a negative way that can promote more inflammation and that can lead to more food sensitivities. And so when we really work our way backwards and we improve the digestive health, we get a diverse microbiome, we reduce inflammation, we get rid of infections or overgrowth. This can actually increase your resilience to inflammation. This can actually make sure that you're properly breaking down foods so that you can digest them and so that your diet is unique to you. And so sometimes what I'm doing is when you fill out a diet diary and you're going through all the foods and you're seeing what foods you don't tolerate well, we may actually remove those for a period of time while we're working on making the container with which those foods are going to go in a little bit stronger, a little bit more resilient. Then we add those foods back in at a time period where we're a little bit more confident that you're going to be able to tolerate them well, where you have the bugs, they're going to be able to break them down well. So when I'm looking at core principle strategies for a healthy diet, I look at microbiome diversity. That's kind of what I'm basing my recommendations on. And we personalize this based on your unique needs. But really, it comes down to whole foods, fiber, variety, polyphenols, antioxidants. And so personalization comes down to, a number of things. When we look at genetics, individual genetic makeup can determine how you metabolize carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Your gut microbiome, like I keep referring to, can actually influence everything from your metabolism to your mood. And we know that diversity is the most important thing you can do. But again, depending on your lifestyle factors, depending on your age and stage, depending on the hormonal pieces going on, One dietary thing might work well to help your microbiome, and that same dietary thing might not work well to help someone else's microbiome. Particularly during perimenopause, women experience increased protein needs due to the hormonal changes. We know adequate protein is essential for maintaining muscle mass and supporting metabolic health during this transition. And so the unique diet for a woman going through perimenopause is going to change when we compare it to the unique diet that's good for a woman who's 20 years old. When we look at stress levels, sleep quality, and physical activity, this can all impact how effective a diet is for an individual. A high stress lifestyle will require a different approach than one that we're focusing on weight loss alone, for example. So it's essential to listen to your body and understand how different foods affect you. And then we can make a game plan based on the best recommendations and then the best recommendations for you. So in conclusion, understanding that one size fits all diets do not cater to individual needs. And it's crucial to understand this for achieving long-term health. The journey to finding the diet right for you is about exploration and personalization. For example, intermittent fasting might work for someone who has an insulin pattern that's very elevated, but the intermittent fasting actually makes somebody who has a very stressed response in the morning and a hypoglycemic response, it actually makes them feel worse, right? And so if you've tried a diet that didn't work or you have questions about your dietary choices, share your experiences in the comments below. Remember, your health journey is as unique as you, and it's really important that we do the same when it comes to our diet and lifestyle modifications.